Hi guys, my name is Megan. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist here to teach you about the anatomy of the pelvic girdle. So if we look at the pelvic girdle, the first thing we need to look at are the bones. So the iliac crests sit on each side through here. Moving forward, we have the pubic symphysis. That's where the pelvic girdle meets in the front. Looking down a little bit further, we have the pubic rami bones. And then these bones, the ischial tuberosities, those are your sit bones, and those are the bones you'll feel through your bum when you're sitting. If we take a look at the back side of the pelvis, we have the lumbar spine that attaches on the top here, the sacrum that sits through here, joining at the sacroiliac joint, and then we have the tailbone or the coccyx. So the pelvic girdle is really this bony continuous ring. So that's the bony structure. And then if we take a look at the muscles of the pelvic floor, we look down through here. The pelvic floor consists of 3 muscle layers that surround the 3 openings. So we have the urethra opening, the vaginal opening, and then the rectal opening. The first 2 layers of muscles provide support to the sphincters. So they'll close off the urethra and close off the rectal opening to maintain continence of bowel and bladder. The third layer of your pelvic floor primarily is for support. So third layer sits back through here and attaches posteriorly or in the back from the coccyx or tailbone. And then if we tip to take a peek inside, we can better yet see third layer that attaches from the tailbone all the way to the pubic bone in the front. It's almost like a hammock of muscles that support the internal organs, because inside here we have the bladder that sits in the front, the uterus that sits right behind that, and then the rectum or the bowels that sit just past that. So that's a little bit of information regarding the muscular structure of the pelvic floor. And then if we take a peek and look a little bit more globally, what we have are the hips. So the hips come in and attach at the acetabulum here on each side. And then in the back, as I mentioned before, your lumbar spine sits through here. So you have your spinal column that runs up this way. And then if we come back and look at the front, right through here sits our core muscles. Everybody has them, I promise. They're in there. And they come and attach behind the pubic bone here that is continuous with the third layer of your pelvic floor. So your core and your pelvic floor are very much related because they share that point behind the pubic bone. So how this matters for cycling, it's very important, because if we are weak through our trunk, through our core muscles or our back muscles or our pelvic floor, we're not going to be as strong and we're not going to be as stable and steady on our bike. So one thing we look at is when we're riding our bike or doing any sort of exercise for that matter, it's important that we stabilize through our core and engage our core muscles. Our pelvic floor will engage a little bit as well. So we're super strong and stable through this whole area. If we're cycling or doing an exercise where we can't activate our core and our pelvic floor, we're going to move a little bit more, which is essentially wasted energy. So that's a little bit of information, kind of the basics on the anatomy of the pelvic girdle and the pelvic floor. If you're interested in learning more, give me a follow on social media. I'm at Between the Hips, and stay tuned for some more videos.